Okay, video number 4. So, actually, this is a great slide, but I forgot that in Canvas, during the week that we do fats, I already have another slide loaded up, another graphic loaded up, and it's another one that has kind of, again, you're looking in this one. You're looking for the light blue where the omega threes are. So there's canola, there's walnut, there's flax, there's soybean, and then I have below it avocado, none, hemp, 18%, chia seed. Of the fat that's in there, more than half is omega 3. So it's a great source of omega 3s. And then I've got it broken down by fish. The fattier the fish, the fishier, the smelling the fish, the fishier, the tasting the fish. That's where you find your omega 3 fats. But generally, the problem is of our food supply. It's not a matter of eat more omega 3. It really is a matter of just get enough. The omega 3s and omega 6s, they become other molecules. Those other molecules use similar pathways. And if you overconsume the omega 6, and we do eat a ton of omega 6, then the omega 3s kind of get lost in the shuffle. And imagine that they're competing for the same pathways in the body. We have to give the omega 3s in our body a chance, which means we have to eat enough of them. And sadly, we vastly overconsume omega 6 and we vastly underconsume omega 3. And that's the problem of the American diet. Okay. Now, omega 3, omega 6s are unsaturated. We do want you to eat unsaturated fats. Now, unsaturated fats have double bonds, and unfortunately, double bonds are very sensitive molecules. They're actually easily prone to breaking down. And the more double bonds there are, the easier that molecule will break down. So if you have a chain of carbons with no double bonds, that's coconut oil. That's saturated. That has like a 3 to 5 year shelf life at Walmart on the shelf. You add one double bond, like we see in the monounsaturated olive oils, a year. It's good for a year, maybe a year and a half. When you get to your canola oils, your corn oils, your vegetable oils, those have a lot of omega 6s. Omega 6s have 2 double bonds, and they break down a lot quicker. We call that rancidity. So here I am telling you to eat the omega 6s and the omega 3s. We actually would prefer you to get those from the food and not the oils, because oils break down quicker. And things that break down oils quickly: heat, air, light. You can tell when your oil has gone bad if you have a see-through container of corn oil. You'll see that it's not quite yellow anymore. It becomes orangish, and that's basically the colors are changing in the oil, indicative of that rancidity is taking place. It's probably still fine to use, but maybe it's time to get a new oil. What can you do about that? Can you do anything about this process of the fats breaking down? You can. And this started a long time ago, over 100 years ago. People figured out if you took unsaturated fats, mono, poly, especially poly like corn oil, and you forced hydrogen back onto those carbons. So remember I said like your kids might have glued the pearls together? You unglue the pearls. That's called hydrogenation. You literally make the double bonds go away and it becomes saturated. And if you do this with corn oil, it becomes less and less of an oil and more of a solid. Shortening, the most famous brand is Crisco, is vegetable oil that was an oil. We added hydrogen, we hydrogenated, and made it a solid. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do this. It's cheap to do this. Your final product looks like butter chemically, acts like butter, makes a great crust, makes food crunchy. Butter's expensive, corn oil's cheap. And so Crisco and shortening are pretty cheap. The only negative is when you do this, you don't always just saturate the whole thing. Sometimes you go from 2 to 1, and that one double bond is supposed to be crooked, right? Like I said in olive oil. And sometimes it's not. It's just kind of a weird artifact of chemistry. So so if you went from 3 or 2 double bonds, and this is one of your fatty acids in your parent molecule, your triglyceride, it should be crooked like we see in olive oil. That's why it's olive oil and not olive butter. Sometimes it's straight, and that's a trans fat. This is not, you can find these in nature in microscopic amounts, but it's actually a very rare molecule. We don't like trans fats. They have all sorts of health issues, which we'll talk about. But that's where they come from, this hydrogenation process. And the reason why they started doing this 100 years ago, because even 100 years ago, before there was modern inflation, butter was expensive, corn oil was cheap. If you can take an oil, make it a solid, and it acts like a butter, why wouldn't you do it if you're Nabisco or General Foods or another big food company? And there you go, right? So it's not fully hydrogenated, it's partially hydrogenated. If you've ever played around with Crisco, it's solid, but if you've ever actually touched coconut oil is hard, like a brick. Crisco is like a grease. You can stick your finger in it, you can mash it kind of like like ice cream or something. But it's solid enough to make food, to make this product very stable. There's less double bonds, it doesn't go bad, and it makes food taste great. Okay, that's the triglycerides. Let's talk quick about the phospholipids. So phospholipids are molecules which are somewhat fatty, somewhat watery. They interact with either watery things and fatty things. If we add oil and vinegar or oil and water, they separate. If you add a phospholipid like lecithin, which is very common in soy, it also is common in eggs, you can make it stick together. And that's why we use it in cooking. We take fatty things and watery things, we add phospholipids, and you make ranch dressing, French dressing, Russian dressing. When you buy those, they're not separated. The oil's not in top. It's homogeneous. It looks good, and people buy things with their eyes. And every cell membrane in the body is 2 layers of phospholipid. There's water on the outside of the cells, water on the inside. Here's your phospholipid. There are the 2 legs sticking in. Those are fatty acids. Here's that watery head. There's the 2 legs sticking in, fatty acids. And this bilayer, they call it a bilayer, is somewhat impermeable, right? It's now it's kind of like fatty, if you will, like a soccer ball that has 2 covers, and there's butter between the 2 covers of the ball. It's hard for stuff to get in and out, which requires transporters, and those transporters are very specific for things like glucose and iron. Having this arrangement allows for cells to protect themselves from the outside. And last but not least, cholesterol. Cholesterol, the one that we consume and worry about is cholesterol. That's sterol, rather. We use cholesterol in the body to make vitamin D, estrogen, sex hormone, testosterone, sex hormone, and bile. It is so essential. We make it. If you eat it, you'll use it. There is no requirement to eat it. That's it. And here's your cholesterol of common foods. Liver has a ton. Egg has a lot. Shrimp. Oh, okay. Shrimp doesn't have much, but few people eat 6, 8, many shrimp. But egg has the most. Egg yolk, by the way. It's just in the yolk. Liver has the most, but few people eat liver. Egg has really the most for most folks, and that's going to be in the yolk. 186, 181, 180. The number kind of depends on where you're looking. Okay.